All right. Emergency podcast. Got a full podcast for you after the NBA draft because I have something to admit. All right. You'll never hear me say this ever again, so don't get used to it. But look, that hurt. Detroit Pierce would like to formally apologize to Troy Weaver for ever doubting him. I don't know how to end that. Do I say amen? Doesn't matter. I'd like to apologize. Because, yeah, when we traded Grant and we only got one first-round pick, I was thinking to myself, what a terrible pick. How dumb is Troy Weaver? What happened to last year's version? I want that one. Troy Weaver 2.0 sucks. I want the last one. Guess what? We all got bamboozled. And guess what? Troy Weaver is a damn genius. Damn genius. The fact that we traded Grant for Kemba Walker and Duran is bananas. Bananas. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how you do it. All right. Okay. Let's take it one step at a time. So, start it off. We got the 5th pick. Jaden Ivey with the 5th pick. We had a lot of other options on the draft board. We went for the best player available. We went for the most athletic player in this draft. We went for the guy who can get to the rim, is just a freak athlete, super smart, wanted to be in Detroit player, Jaden Ivey. In my opinion, on my big board, the second best player, Jaden Ivey. Doesn't get better than that. Right? I mean, you saw the guy's emotion. Every single interview. 3 hours after he got drafted, he's still getting interviewed by ESPN, and he's still in tears because of how excited he is to play for Detroit, play in Detroit. He's got family in Detroit. He is Detroit. That's as good as it gets. And he's the second best athlete, the second best player in this draft class, and you get him at 5? That's as good as it gets. I can't draw it up any better. I really can't. That's as good as it gets. Then, all of a sudden, I'm starting to make brats. I'm making fries and brats, to watch the draft. And, I'm kind of relaxing, just trying to see how it unfolds. Maybe I'll do a podcast. Maybe I won't. Then Troy Weaver decides to dunk on the NBA and trade a draft pick that, in all honesty, might never happen in 2025 for Kemba Walker, who is still a very good point guard and the second best, in my opinion, second best defensive center in the draft? How? How did you do it? And all these Knicks fans are saying, "Whoa, we don't want Kemba Walker. We don't need Kemba Walker. I've got his stats right here. Oh, he only had 11 points last year per game and 3 assists. Do you know what he did the year before? He had 19 points. He still has a little bit of gumption in him. He still can play. And you're just throwing him away after one bad year? And you're giving me one of the best centers in this upcoming draft, in this draft class? That's what you're giving me for it? For a pick that's not going to happen? Unbelievable. Troy. Snaps for you, Troy. Snaps for you. Kemba Walker can come. No, we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about the draft right now. You get Duran, you get Kemba. You're the GOAT, Troy. You're the GOAT. And in next year, Kemba's contract is $9.1 million. He's got 1 year left on his contract, and it's worth $9.16 million. Okay? Currently, there are talks about buying Kemba out, and then the Pistons would have $44 million left in cap space, or we can keep Kemba and have $30-odd million, whatever that math is. All right, I'm not the mathematician. That's really good. You still have the most cap space. You still have the most cap space going into next year, into this upcoming free agency. You have a plentiful of options. This is how it goes, okay? Orlando has the second most with $27 million of cap space. We have the most with 30 some odd million dollars. Or if we get rid of Kemba, we have $44 million. That's insanity. All right. So with all that cap space, we got to do something with it. We got to do something with all that cap space. So here are some options. Gosh, my eye is killing me today. It rained for the first time in Phoenix. Now my eye is going crazy. Okay, here are some options. Obviously, everybody wants to talk about DeAndre Ayton. Oh, we could get DeAndre Ayton. We can get DeAndre Ayton. In my opinion, in a league where it's so guard heavy and you don't really need the best big man on the floor, as proven by DeAndre Ayton, by the Suns in the last 2 years, to me, I think drafting Durant, keeping Stewart, and keeping Olynyk, you're fine at center. It's not that big of a need. You don't need that position. It's not the number one need. Now, if we get him, is it great? Yes, he's a top 5 center in the league. No doubt about it. That's awesome. I'm very happy for us. But you got to tell me what we traded for him. If we traded a lot for him, then I'm out. Okay? But that being said, there are still some options on the board. Bradley Beal's on the board. Don't love him, but he's on the board. A nice little shooter that can spread the floor. Don't hate that. Miles Bridges. Don't hate that. What about sneaking in and getting Kyrie Irving? I kind of hate that, but he's still pretty good. What about that other guy for the Brooklyn Nets named Kevin freaking Durant? That's not the... You're going to have to trade a couple things, but he's an MVP next year. That's not bad. But what if we do what I would really love, right? We got all this cap space. What if we had a combination of, I don't know, Montrezl Harrell, Miles Bridges, PJ Tucker, Ibaka? What if we got like 2 or 3 of those guys? Because in my mind, if we keep Kemba, we keep Corey Joseph, obviously, he came back, Cade Cunningham and Ivy, you've got the backcourt. All you need to do now is kind of get a couple of rebounders, a couple of guys that can bang down low. All of a sudden, you've got a great team. So in my mind, what I would really like to see, you keep Kemba, you get Miles Bridges, maybe not for a max, but for a little less than max, so you can save a little cap space. And you go out and get Montrez, or you get PJ Tucker or Ibaka for like a 1 or a 2 year deal, and really solidify a great roster. But you keep a lot of the cap space so that we can go out and get somebody else next year. That's a pretty freaking good team, because then here's your starting 5. Here's your starting 5 without getting any free agents. This is your starting 5 next year. If you keep Kemba, this is what it is. Kemba, Cade, Ivy. Whoa. Bay, and then you pick a center out of Stewart, Durant, Olynyk, which is a pretty good combination. And then you got Bagley coming off. Then you got Hayes coming off the bench. You got Garza and Livers who are coming off, who had great first seasons. I don't know. To me, that sounds pretty good. It's a pretty good team. A couple of years ago, when we hired Troy Weavers, we just got done with a Stan Van Gundy era, where we had Josh Smith, Drummond, Greg Monroe. We didn't have any cap space. We couldn't really win a championship. We had no chance. Now, we've completely flip-flopped it to a deal where we have all of these guards and a ton of cap space. What Troy Weaver has done with the Detroit Pistons is nothing short of greatness. Even if this team doesn't win a championship, the fact that he has completely turned this team around in this short a time, I admire the hell out of him. Now, let's talk about next year. What are our expectations next year? Last year, we finished second to last in the East, right? So it's pretty crazy to say, we should be we should be a playoff team, but we should be a playoff team that's not in the play-in game. For me, I think the expectation is that when we're in the last month of the NBA season, we're knocking on the door of the play-in game, because we have to beat out 4 of these teams in order to make the spot. Okay? Nets, Cavs, Hawks, Hornets, Knicks, Wizards, Pacers, Magic. We just have to beat out 4 of those teams because those are the teams that were in the play-in game and didn't make the playoffs in the East. We got to beat 4 of those teams, right? Who do you not beat? Really? Cavs? Are the Cavs clearly better than us? Are the Nets without Kyrie and Durant clearly better than us? Hornets without Miles Bridges, are they clearly better than us? Here's who I think we beat out. I think next year we can beat out the Magic, obviously. I think we beat the Wizards, and I think we can beat the Knicks, okay? I think we can beat the Pacers. So there's 4. So we got to beat 5. Sorry, I did my math wrong. So we got to beat out these 5 teams. Magic, Pacers, Wizards, Knicks. And here's the 5th team that I think we beat out. I think Irving and Durant leave, and I think we beat out the Nets. And then all of a sudden we're a play-in playoff team. And am I saying that we're gonna take over and win the play-in game? No, that's not the expectation. The expectation is just to get these players some playoff experience. Get us out there. Because the next 5 years of this team with Cade and Ivy, building around Cade, Ivy, and Bay, sheesh. It's pretty freaking good. It's pretty freaking good. And don't sleep on Durant. Let me tell you something. I didn't do much research about Durant, but that man's a beast. He might not have it offensively right now, but he has it defensively. And with a lot of great centers in the East, it's really key if we're going to try to take that next step. Very key. What a draft day, huh? I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm going to get a Jaden Ivey jersey. That's just flat out what I'm going to have to do. That's just it. I'm going to have to do that. I appreciate you all. In Troy Weaver, we trust. God bless. Go Detroit Sports.